What's going on, everybody? Kevin Cage back with another crypto update. Happy Friday, and we're going to dive right into today's video because we have a bunch to go over. So we're going to look at the Bitcoin cycles and a signal that could be the shallowest bear market in Bitcoin history. And we also have the Clarity Act coming up on July 4th for potential signature, and that just happens to be America's 250th anniversary, or America's birthday, so a very interesting coincidence. And my question for everybody, because I know people are bored in this market, and rightfully so, is will we see massive market volatility between now and then? And I believe we do. And I mean massive. I think that we either go up or down, obviously, but it's going to be a big swing either way. And at least having a rough plan for both scenarios before everything really kicks off is absolutely key. And you have to know what you want to do. Are you planning to DCA, and at what levels? Are you going to be exiting out based off support and resistance and try to buy back and improve your position by, 10 or 20%, which would be a huge win? Or do you have even sell targets for higher prices? The point I want to make is it will get crazy at some point or another. If you've been in crypto for multiple cycles, you know this is already true. And having a plan is everything. If you don't have a plan during times of volatility, when it goes up or down, you're going to panic or act impulsively. So point being is map out a rough plan or strategy right now. You should always have one at all times in the market. And remember, every single person's plan is different. We all have different situations, time horizons, risk appetites, you get it. So you have to decide what is best for you. And if you're a crypto investor, just remember, all it takes is for Bitcoin dominance to roll over and it's game on in the snap of a finger, just like the previous alt seasons. And historically, alt seasons don't happen when everybody expects it. They happen out of nowhere. And that's exactly what happened during the last two bull runs, or actual alt seasons when Bitcoin dominance crashes. I lived through both of these, I witnessed it. And yeah, we have a bunch of regulatory catalysts coming up. We have the new Fed chair, we have the Clarity Act, which is hands down the biggest bill or piece of legislation in crypto history. And I could go on and on. We have a bunch of debt expiring over the next couple years as well. And we have a million other geopolitical events happening right now. I mean, everywhere you look, we have AI, we have institutions positioning, we have a lot cooking up. And I mean legitimately for something absolutely crazy. I think we all know it's either going to be complete financial collapse or a new financial system. And not financial advice, but I played baseball for most of my life, and I am swinging the bat. And make sure you stick around for all of today's video, because I really want to dive into what would actually add demand to the price of XRP when it comes to RWAs or real-world assets. And we know that there are a variety of RWAs or real-world assets out there. It could be venture capital, private equity, or even private credit, stocks, ETFs, real estate, gold, you name it. But not all categories of RWAs are created equally, and we're going to go over that and what would actually add demand to the price of XRP. Alright, next up, a quick throwback looking at a historical snapshot in January of 2020. And you can do the same thing if you go to CoinMarketCap and then you go to cryptocurrencies and then click historical snapshots right there. So you can look at any time and a variety of crypto assets. So you can go to obviously, August 3rd of 2014 and oh my gosh, look at XRP's price. And the point I want to make is back in January of 2020, this is when I rolled over my crypto Roth IRA to iTrust. So I left BitIRA and made the move to iTrust. So this was years ago, but the emphasis I want to make is that every single person, if you are able to, create a Roth IRA. Every single trade, every piece of profit since then has been $0 in capital gains, so 0% in taxes. If I was just doing this in a normal account, an exchange account, a broker account, I am paying taxes every single year on the gains. So then every single year I have a little bit less money to start with and even grow and compound my accounts. And that difference might not seem like a lot in 1 or 2 years, but it makes a hell of a difference over the years. So I'm going to keep singing this from the rooftop. Make sure that you are positioned on iTrust. Create an account. This is linked in the top of the YouTube video description. It's super easy to get started. You just click get started. You put in your info, you fund it, and then you get a $100 funding bonus. And why would you do this? Because it's completely free, just looking at the pricing. No monthly fees, no ongoing quarterly distribution fees that other platforms charge. You have the platform, you're good to go, and you can trade 24/7, 365. But the bigger piece of news, and I even watched a recent interview of Jared Feldman, I believe SVP of Operations over at iTrust. So we already know that we have crypto assets, or over 90 different crypto assets and gold and silver on iTrust. But get this, we have stocks and ETFs coming to iTrust this summer. And in the recent interview on Zach Rector's channel, and it was an amazing interview, Jared basically said something along the lines that there's going to be over 10,000 stocks. 10,000 different stocks and ETFs available on iTrust. So when you think about that, why would you even need to have an account on Vanguard or Fidelity when you have a one-stop shop for everything? Especially as RWAs and the Clarity Act goes through, we're going to get, lending options. All of these things have to develop. But I think it's clear that iTrustCapital, with over a $1 billion valuation, is positioned to move quickly on this a lot faster than all of the other legacy providers. And I've been with them for over 6 years. If you do not have a Roth IRA, you are absolutely missing out. You are leaving money on the table. You get a single login and you can choose between a variety of accounts, but the one that I most recommend is a Roth IRA, obviously. So make sure you use the link to get started. It is in the pinned YouTube comments in the video description, and it's also the first link in my link tree. And I'm also really excited to have Jared on during a live Twitter Spaces on May 27th, so make sure you tune in. I posted this on X, and it's also right in the post for my YouTube channel. Alright, so let's dive right into this, and then we're going to discuss the Bitcoin cycles a bit. So we had Ripple X post this yesterday. In less than 1 year, the XRP ledger has climbed from the top 10 to number 4, so to the 4th spot on the RWA XYZ League table, making it one of the fastest growing RWA ecosystems in the space. Let me actually just open this up so we can see a growing range of tokenized financial assets on-chain, from treasuries, money market funds, to commercial paper, structured credit, and more. And all of this bringing on-chain is incredibly important, expanding what those assets can enable across financial markets as part of the broader opportunity ahead, and one the XRP community is building toward together. You can visit this website, and then we're going to dive into this. So looking at the RWA League table, let me zoom out just a little bit so we can see the numbers. We can see when we click all, we have the XRP ledger in the number 4 spot with over $4.1 billion. When we click represented, and we'll go over what represented on-chain actually means, we can see $3.7 billion and ranked number 3. But notice we have represented value. So what is that? This says RWA tokens using the blockchain as a record-keeping layer, enhancing transparency, reconciliation, and operational efficiency without enabling on-chain investors to transfer or distribution. And then we have distributed value. Now look at this. We are not even on the board for distributed value just yet. And distributed value is very interesting. This is when you are actually using the blockchain, or the XRP ledger in this case, as the distribution layer, enabling on-chain investors to subscribe, hold, and manage assets directly through their own wallets or custodians, so actual transactions. So obviously, the XRP ledger in terms of represented value is absolutely crushing it. I mean, we can see the 30-day percent is over 50%. That is huge. So we're seeing a lot of growth there, and obviously these two, represented and distributed, can work in tandem. But I just want to point out that distributed assets, we want distributed value, because why? That is live on the XRP ledger where everybody's transacting. Every transaction is burning XRP. For the issuers, we know that XRP needs reserves for every single account, and that is further locking the supply, or even trust lines. And what does that lead to? That leads to XRP being the bridge asset for RWAs on the DEX, and real institutional usage. So represented value, or represented assets, it's really more so for record keeping. Obviously, it's a huge value add for those that use it, but what we really want, and what is very bullish for the price of XRP, is distributed value, because that is where the real flywheel kicks in. We know that both of these are going to climb as time goes on, but we really want to see the distributed value go up. So big congrats to the XRP ledger for reaching the number 3 spot in represented value and the number 4 spot for the RWA League table. We already know the $18.9 trillion tokenization prediction. We are not even a fraction of being there. Everything in traditional finance, the $100 trillion plus of stocks, are being tokenized today. So we still have a lot of represented value to come, and we have even more distributed asset value, and those are the things that can lead to a supply shock. Whether you believe it or not, it is going to be interoperable with the crypto asset class. And we already went over the patent by the DTCC prioritizing interoperability with public networks and even mentioning the XRP ledger. Not to mention the press release that we just had this month. And let me zoom in for this. They custody over $114 trillion. And we have Ripple Prime in the list of companies that they're working with their limited production of trades of securities that are tokenized by the DTC's tokenization service, with plans to launch the service this October. So we are shaping up for one hell of a year. Alright, so let's finish up with this because we're getting well over the 10-minute mark and I still gotta trim these clips up. So we had Cointelegraph sharing this. If $60,000 holds as Bitcoin's cycle low, this would be the shallowest bear market in Bitcoin history. So looking at this chart, and this is by Glassnode, we have the orange, and this is Bitcoin's relative unrealized loss for each cycle. And then in the black, we have the Bitcoin USD price, so we can see for every bear market looking at the level of the relative unrealized loss. Now here's Bitcoin yesterday, so this is the Bitcoin US dollar price chart on the weekly time frame. And I made these purple cups just basically showing from Bitcoin cycle top, and then we have like a multi-year bear market up until the point that we break into a new all-time high. So we go on another run, rinse and repeat every single cycle. Now what's interesting, and this is the chart, just the image from yesterday, and I'll show today's chart on the monthly, is we can see that Bitcoin right now is still holding above the 2021 cycle peak of 69K back there. So we can see from the peak, we are just above that level. We did go briefly below that, getting very close or even hitting 60,000. So we went below that level, below the peak, and then reclaimed it. Looking at the 2022 bear market when Bitcoin went down to like 15.5 or under 16,000, we can see that we also broke below the 2017 peak, and then after that we reclaimed it. Now we're in really interesting times because you can also make the argument looking at the unrealized loss that Bitcoin's in a bear market and we go a lot lower. But my head is spinning because Bitcoin dominance could roll over at any moment and then boom, we just have a bull run. And looking at the Bitcoin monthly chart, doing the same thing. So what I did here, just to explain, is I grabbed a horizontal ray. Oops, let me undo that. So I grabbed this horizontal ray, and all I did is I went to the monthly candle body at the very top, the cycle peak for each cycle. So we have back in 2013, we have 2017, and then we can see all the way back in 2021. So we had Bitcoin pop up before the Bitcoin halving into an all-time high, the first time that we ever did that in Bitcoin history. We somewhat kind of rode this level, getting very close to closing back below it, but if you zoom in, we can actually see that the monthly candle body never closed a full candle below the previous cycle top, or at least right there, as we can see. So this candle body is still poking up. So we went on a bit of a run. Bitcoin dominance didn't crash. Everybody, including myself, is saying, what the heck? We haven't had a traditional cycle or a traditional alt season since 2021. This is the longest that we've gone without an actual alt season. And yes, Bitcoin went up. Some alts did perform, don't get me wrong, but by definition, this was not an alt season. Bitcoin dominance just rose. We never saw the crash like the previous alt seasons where alts go parabolic. And what's interesting about this is this wick came all the way back down to 60,000. So this wick essentially backtested the 2021 cycle top on the monthly candle bodies. And looking at the monthly RSI, this is Bitcoin's momentum. We are in a very interesting point. Are we actually going to run up and close a full candle body above the 8-month EMA, which is over, we'll say, like 82K? And if we do, then I would say that we're entering bullish territory on the most important time frame, the monthly time frame. And then from there, we could absolutely go on a big run. But the longer that we're below this 8-month EMA, closing full candle bodies, it looks like a bear. So keep that in mind. We are getting very close to the 4th of July, Independence Day, America's 250th birthday. Let me know what you guys think is going to happen. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Be sure to hit that like button, links are in the video description, and have a great weekend. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to smash the like button and let me know your thoughts down below. You can find all links to my crypto resources, including tools for charting, trading bots, wallets, portfolio trackers, and exclusive discounts right in my link tree in the video description. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.